Welcome to another edition of the Hawk Off the Press podcast. I'm your host, Gazette Hawkeye football reporter, John Steppe. I'm excited to be joined once again by my Gazette women's basketball counterpart, Jeff Linder. Jeff, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, good morning. How are you? Did you survive the storm last night?
Yeah, I slept through the whole thing, so even better.
I did not. So,
well, obviously a big weekend ahead for you in Norman. I guess first of all, maybe Jan Jensen's son might have a future in bracketology.
Yeah, Jack nailed it. He thought Norman, and Norman it is, and good for Jack. So I know he keeps a close eye on all that stuff. So more so than Jan does herself.
Well, first of all, kind of take me back to Sunday for you. When you see that bracket, specifically the Norman site, kind of what were your impressions of these first two potential matchups here for the Hawkeyes?
Well, first of all, thank God it's drivable. That was my first thought. Then I started looking at Murray State, and boy, they can score. The highest scoring team in the nation at about 88 points a game. They've got a 3,000 point career scorer in Caitlin Young. If you want to put an asterisk on that because she's a 5-year player, so be it. But still, I mean, that's a heck of an accomplishment. She's averaging 22 points a game. Hallie Polk, the Waterloo West product that we had a little piece on today, another 17 points a game. They've got 4 kids averaging double figures. They're going to score. And, who'd have thought last year that Iowa would be facing a team that was more explosive than them.
And then it seems like, there's going to be a lot of talk in the second round about Jenny versus Jan. But really, first of all, this seems like this first round game is not necessarily a gimme here for the Hawkeyes.
No, the analytics say that Murray State has about a 15% chance to win. Iowa's a 12-point favorite or so, whichever way you want to put that half point. But it's not a slam dunk. It's probably fairly contested 5-footer from the middle of the lane. But they can't look too far ahead. I mean, the Oklahoma matchup is a snazzy matchup with Jenny, and who a lot of people thought 2 or 3 years ago was probably the heir apparent for the Iowa job, and Jan, who ultimately got it. But and there's some other Iowa connections there, of course, with Aubrey Jones from City High. Sahara Williams went to Waterloo West, and but yeah, we'll talk about that after the first game's done.
And then kind of not to look too far ahead, but is there something, if you end up with that matchup, that you're kind of really looking forward to seeing if that indeed happens?
Well, just the things that we talked about. I mean, Oklahoma's a really good team. They're playing at home. Iowa would be a, moderate underdog in that game. Certainly not it wouldn't be an undoable kind of thing. Yeah, as far as matchups and stuff like that, we'll dive into that a little bit more after Murray State's passed.
And then kind of just overall looking at this first weekend, do you see this as a realistic hope? I think a lot of Iowa fans are probably hoping that they can get to a Sweet 16. Do you see that as realistic?
Yeah, it's realistic. I think Sweet 16 is their ceiling. With UConn, would be the regional semifinal opponent. I think that would be a very difficult task, as UConn usually is. Sweet 16 is doable. That's their ceiling. The floor is first round loss. I think the most likely scenario is round of 32, but I'm sure the Iowa players and coaches are thinking and hoping for more, as are the fans.
And then what do you see as the key for this team to be closer to that, Sweet 16 ceiling?
Just be themselves, play the way they've been playing the last 6 weeks. If they can do that and can survive the true road test, which they haven't had in an NCAA tournament for years, then they've certainly got a fighting chance to get to the second weekend.
What would you say would be a kind of quote unquote success for this Iowa team if they can do kind of insert here?
Um, this would be a successful season if they win one game. I think it's a mildly successful season already, about what we expected. I think I had them at 21-8 regular season wise. They were 20-9. So, with the addition of Lucy Olson, I think everybody thought this was going to be kind of a bridge year between the Clark years and the Addie Deal years to come. And I think it's, regardless of what happens Saturday, I think it's been a good season. And one win would make it a solidly good season. And I would say 2 wins would make it a great season.
And then what would you, or has there been anything this season that's particularly surprised you about this team?
The improvement of Addison O'Grady has been a good storyline. Just the way that Lucy Olson fit in and their late season run will probably be the way this team will be remembered. I think Hannah Stolke was pretty much what we thought she would be, and Lucy, Sydney Folter improved a little bit. They got through some minor injuries, and got through a stretch there where they lost a lot of close games, and that's kind of the way this season's been.
Obviously, you can't go back in hindsight being 2020, but if one of those games goes differently kind of during that rough stretch, do you think Iowa has maybe a more favorable path this weekend?
Yeah, I would say if they'd won 2 more of those games, that stretch with Illinois and Oregon and Indiana and Maryland and the other one they lost in there, if they'd won 2 more of those games, I think they probably would be hosting this week.
The freshman class too seems to be a bright spot for this. What's kind of stood out to you about them?
The gutsiness and grittiness of Taylor Stremlo has been a lot of fun to watch. Ava Hayden's going to be a star. Aaliyah Guyton has that capability too. Tegan Mullaney came in and did some good things. Callie Levine's day is yet to come, and I think it will. That class has been good, and I think next year they'll be better. And with the freshmen coming in, it's going to be a young team, but I think a lot of fun to watch.
And not to look too far ahead, but how do you see kind of this core of freshmen blending in with Addie Deal and the rest of that incoming class?
Yeah, that's the future. I guess with the way things are these days, you got to say who's going to stay. With the assumption that they all stay, I think this group of 5 and the 3 coming in is the nucleus for years to come. I think next year will be a good season, and I think 2 years from now, this is a team that could be really good, and maybe back on that 25 win kind of team.
Well, Jeff, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
And you can check out Jeff's work throughout the weekend in Norman at thegazette.com, or picking up a copy of the Gazette or the Green Gazette as well. Thanks to our listeners for tuning in to another episode. Until next time, we will talk Hawks later.